Star Dublin footballer Jack McCaffrey has pulled up his socks again for Christmas Sock Day, which returns on Thursday, the 6th of December 2018. Developed by TK Maxx, the campaign invites the public to sport their Christmas socks to raise funds for Enable Ireland, which provides vital support services for children and young people with disabilities across Ireland. You can get involved by sharing your own hashtag Socksy on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Here's Jack McCaffrey's chat with Darren.
So the fanfare is over and the excitement has died down. Jack McCaffrey has managed to join us in studio. The All-Ireland success, Jack. Have the celebrations died down?
Yeah, but obviously the Christmas festivities are kind of starting to ramp up, so it's been a really enjoyable couple of months. But yeah, kind of slowly but surely starting to turn the eyes towards next year.
You're a civilian for now, though. Is this a nice point of the year, because you've had your success, the football is done, the talking after the football is done, the celebrating of the football is done, and now it's kind of mainly just family, friends, catch-up time, is it?
I don't know why people keep asking me that question. Now, my favourite time of year is the height of the summer, when we're playing championship football and nice weather and getting to run out into Croke Park. But yeah, I actually adore Dublin at Christmas as well. It's a great town at the best of times, but seeing the Christmas lights up and kind of meeting old friends and reunion dinners and things like that, it's a really nice time of year, so looking forward to it.
When you look at what the 2018 final was for you and your experiences of different finals, I think you were taken off in your first one. Obviously, it damaged your knee in 2017. There was Donegal in 2014 in the championship. Was the summer's experience of actually being on the pitch for the final whistle and winning an All-Ireland, in the All-Irelands you have won, was that the most special?
Was it the most special?
How different was it to the other ones?
How different was it? Yeah, that's probably an easier way to put it. Yeah, it was great. It was phenomenal to be out there now, and I'm not for a second trying to say that the others weren't incredible as well. That the kind of sense of just relief, of pent up worry or whatever, just being released is very similar. But it was great to be able to just collapse to the field, to be there looking at the referee when the final whistle goes, and then I think I met Kevin McMenamin first, and you know it was something I'll remember for a very, very long time.
Because I'm sure the moment is sheer ecstasy and joy, but probably different when you're still in game mode and you're still trying to win the next ball than if you're in the stand, I'm sure.
Yeah, like you probably have a bit more of a sense that it's coming when you're on the bench. You can see the clock ticking down, and you've seen how much added time is on, and you're looking at the referee. Whereas on the pitch, you're still kind of trying to get your last breath back and be ready to maybe track a man or make a tackle or get up, and then suddenly it's just done, and you can, you know, it's a much more sudden kind of release of that energy, as opposed to when you're on the sidelines. It probably builds and builds and builds, and then you're there. So it's a subtle enough difference, but a bit different, yeah.
Noticeable difference anyway.
Noticeable, yeah.
When you look at the year you've had in terms of getting back fit, overcoming a serious knee injury, the rehab, the recovery, in a word, how would you describe what that was for you?
Jenny Mac. It was tough, I suppose. Like I don't overstate it. It wasn't hell or anything, but it was tough, and it was definitely very, very different. Like one of the reasons I love Gaelic football is that team environment and all the training sessions where you're kind of with your friends and having a bit of crack, and then the recovery from injury was much more of a kind of individual thing, maybe like a lot of athletes would experience, but
just like you and the physio, basically.
Yeah, and oftentimes, you know, the physio would see you and say, right, look, I'll see you in 2 or 3 weeks once you've done this block of work, and you could just text them with questions or whatever. But you know, there was a lot of times it was just you know, plug in the earphones and just get to work, and you know, there's nothing glamorous about it and nothing particularly fun about it, but you know, it's something I'm not going to say I'm glad I had to do it, but I'm obviously thrilled with how well it went by the end of the season, and you know, it's something I'm kind of proud of, that I was kind of tested that way and it went well.
You probably know from the physical pain that you're facing that road to recovery. Does anything prepare you for the mental side of those long, arduous hours by yourself, just trying to get right, being a part of the group, but at the same time feeling probably isolated from the group?
I probably wouldn't have known exactly what was coming. The one thing, there were a couple of things that helped me. One was that there was a couple of people in the group who have been through cruciate injuries, who I kind of spoke to about both the physical side of things and also the kind of keeping your sanity basically throughout the couple of months. And then the other thing was that Jim was fantastic in terms of kind of not allowing me to dictate, but I had a certain amount of flexibility with how often I would have interacted with the group. Like, there would have been key enough meetings that you were expected at and had to be at, but other than that, I used to enjoy kind of arriving at just before training when everyone's having the crack in the dressing room, and then as they went out, I wouldn't stick around and watch. I'd just shoot off and do my own thing. So I was still kind of getting my fix of that kind of collective buzz in between the individual work, but it was definitely helpful being able to talk to people about it.
You probably imagined in your head a million times about the game where you actually come back and play some football. Talk to us about your experience. I think it was the league game, played for Clontarf against Fingallians. Was it the moment you thought it would be?
No, it wasn't. I've spoken about this before, and my Clontarf teammates will attest to it, that I did not play very well. But look, reflecting on that now, it's hardly a surprise. But
did you expect to play well? Did you go in?
Yeah, absolutely, I did. Because in fairness, I was in. I didn't come back early or anything. I came back when I was good and ready, and had done a certain number of training sessions. So there was no reason for me not to play well. Only probably rustiness. But you're in a position where through the injury and just being an intercounty footballer, you don't get to play for your club as often as you'd like, and when you do, there's a certain amount expected of you, and there's a certain amount that you want to give. You want to be one of the main players on the pitch, and you want to have a big impact on the outcome, and that just didn't happen. So I was kind of disappointed in myself and felt I'd let some other people down, but in the grand scheme of things, it worked out okay. I played a full game then, I think, the following week, and was significantly improved, and then it kind of just built on that.
It does highlight really the mental battle of getting back. As you mentioned, from training you would have felt you got back, you were coming close to the peak of physical fitness. You play that game, should be the end of the frustration. It should be the moment where you get back on the pitch, and then it's just not what you want it to be, not based on, I suppose, the expectations of anyone else, but based on your own expectations, what you wanted to do for your club. Yeah,
it does. I think that's a fair point. It definitely underscores that, but that sport, like if everything was predictable and just a box ticking exercise, you'd lose kind of the magic of it. So I've had disappointing performances before when I didn't have cruciate injuries to blame. So it's not like this was the first time I'd ever played that badly. I've played significantly worse, in fact. But yeah, there definitely is a mental aspect to kind of trying to stay positive and not beat yourself up, while also not being kind of overconfident either.
The year took a very, very positive turn though after that moment, because you got back involved in the Dublin team and it ended the way it ended. You won't have time to reflect, I suppose, until retirement on the successes and the achievements, but is there a sense among the squad that there is a really, really special group here that has more in them to deliver more success? Yeah.
Definitely a sense that there's a special group. It's something we're all keenly aware of, and I think the very special thing about the group is how kind of close we are and how well we all get on, because I can only imagine, and I've heard stories of, you're bringing together 30 plus good footballers from around the county. There's absolutely no kind of guarantee that those guys are going to get on, that those guys are not going to clash, and that the dressing room isn't going to be a very kind of frictitious, is that a word? Frictitious? Friction-free, fractious. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's our group have been we've kind of been blessed, to be honest, to have a group of really, really good friends, whatever about the football side of things. So yeah, it's really special. We know what we're capable of, and we're, our aim is to just keep kind of delivering that as often as we can, more so for each other. Like we really appreciate all the fans, and we obviously really appreciate all our family and all the support and all that, but ultimately we go out to perform for the man next to you and for your teammates. So that's what kind of drives us on.
Which teams did you support as a kid? Who did you look on as a kid? Who would have inspired you? Not just Gaelic football, but through all sports?
Through all sports. I was never a big soccer fan. I've kind of become an Arsenal fan over the last 3 or 4 years, but
it's a funny time to become an Arsenal
it's a funny time to become an Arsenal. Yeah, there was a bit of a story about a pair of slippers that I got that kind of sparked it off, and then the real turning point was when a friend of mine from college started supporting Arsenal as well, and the two of us are equally ignorant about things, so we can kind of bounce ideas off each other without sounding like absolute morons, even though we don't know anything about football. But
so who gave you the slippers then?
My mum. No. He didn't buy me slippers. Okay. No. I just asked my mum to pick me up a pair of slippers, and I think there was a pair of Arsenal slippers on sale, so she grabbed them for me, and that was my affinity for
always
Arsenal.
What's on special.
Yeah, exactly.
Slipper special.
But,
so Arsenal at a time when, I'd say Wenger out probably started 2 or 3 years ago. It would have been the big time strange time to get on board that bandwagon.
Yeah, well, what I love about, look, again, very, very casual fan. What I love about them is that they could go out and play Crystal Palace, and it's going to be an entertaining game because you don't know if they're going to win. And they could go out and play Manchester City, and it'll be an entertaining game because they could win as well. They can be really, really good, really, really bad. So it's always interesting to keep an eye on them. But in terms of other sports growing up, it would have been GA. Really, and then half an eye on the Irish teams in rugby and soccer and stuff. But the Dublin teams growing up, you would have had your Shane Ryans and Kieran Whelans, and I always had a lot of time for Stephen O'Shaughnessy. Like some of the best players to play for Dublin, and through. It makes me very aware of how lucky I am in terms of timing that I've become involved with a group that's been remarkably successful, and they built the foundations for everything we're kind of working off, and obviously they got their success kind of towards the end of it, but they never got to that holy grail. But yeah, no, they were definitely role models, and my father would have been kind of in various capacities kind of around those teams, and I used to have birthday parties where a Dublin player would show up and stuff like that. So it was always kind of a part of the home environment. Yeah,
it's mad to think Kieran Whelan never won an All Ireland. Probably one of the greatest never to do so.
I think he was 96, 2010 was
the most awkward time.
Really unfortunate for him. But yeah, at the same time, I think he's universally regarded as one of the best players. Yeah. And amongst the Dublin group, he's very, very highly respected as well. So I'm sure he's made his peace with it. Yeah,
and he definitely handed stuff down when you look at those Raheny boys and how they would have idolised Whelan, even people outside Raheny idolised him. Winners, they kind of they're hard to warm to. You don't really warm to winners. Like, people like watching New Zealand, but they love when they lose. People like watching Barcelona, but they like it if Barcelona are upset by someone. Yeah. Same with Man United. People took great pride when United were eventually knocked off their perch. What is your perception, or what can you say about your perception of how this Dublin team is perceived by people outside your group?
Well, first, I think the underdog story is one of the kind of universally, through like film and sport and everything, it's a good story. It's something that everyone always roots for them, and there's always a feel good factor about it. In terms of our group, I don't know. Like I have some very good friends from a lot of counties around Ireland, and I think we're relatively well regarded. I'm sure every one of them would love for us to lose, but I don't think there's. I don't know if begrudgery is the right word, but I think we're regarded as I hope we're regarded positively as a nice bunch of lads, and then you can look at a team like that and still want to knock them all over the pitch when you go out and play against them, because they're not mutually exclusive. So I don't know. You're going to have to ask some of those guys from elsewhere, but I don't lose too much sleep over how other people think about us either, to be honest.
So when people throw the resources thing, when they throw the population thing at Dublin, does it ever irk you, or is it something obviously you're not in control of, so why be bothered by it? I mean, it's human nature to be a little bit bothered by it, is it?
I wouldn't say I'm bothered by it. It's it's nearly a good thing to hear, because as long as people are worried about that, they're probably, if they're focusing on that, they're not focusing on how to kind of beat us on the pitch. So they hopefully they keep doing that for a while. But it It doesn't bother me. No, to be honest, there's a lot of things that bother me in life, but I've never had an issue with that. I think, a lot of people have some very valid arguments around that. I think the biggest advantage Dublin that we have is that we all live in Dublin, which, is going to be a fact of being the capital city. So
it doesn't discount you from crazy journeys. I've talked to guys who go up and get up for work at 6 a.m. and they don't get back. If they're based on the south side and you guys are training in DCU, they don't get back to their house till 8 or 9 at night. So
and later again. I'm not for 1 second saying it's easy.
Yeah.
But I think
it's easier.
I think it is slightly easier. But it just it kind of brings us a bit of a togetherness as well. I suppose you can meet up with lads off the team for lunch, and you can always kind of be within touching distance of that team environment. But yeah, look, I don't let it bother me when people kind of start debating. Maybe I'll get involved in these conversations when I'm finished playing, but for the moment I've enough to be worrying about.
Yeah, the pundit's chair will be waiting for you. You spent the summer working with the paediatric unit in Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Drogheda.
Yeah.
Is that a job? Like, there are people who, when they walk out of the office at 5 o'clock in the day, they won't give a second thought to their job until the next day they have to go into it. Is that a job that's you carry around with you all the time? Is it easy to switch off?
I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I've actually changed jobs now, and I'm with the cardiology team, and it's been a really fantastic experience for me because the doctors I'm working with are really, really passionate about the patients, and they know them so well. And I do have, you kind of get a text maybe at 8 or 9, being like, did we do this or did we do that? And they're always kind of going the extra mile to do a little bit more or the best they can for the patients, which I'm sure all doctors try and do. But it's definitely humbling a lot of the time. But I'd say you leave with a great appreciation for everything you have and a great sense of gratitude. But it's not like you're walking around with a dark cloud over you because you saw something tough in work. There's great supports in place for people there when that does happen. And unfortunately, to a certain degree, you probably have to kind of come to terms with it quickly enough and move on then, because other patients and stuff will suffer if you're kind of hung up on a previous issue. Learn your lessons and take the kind of learning points from it and move on. But it definitely, especially from a football point of view, to meet people who are really, really sick and in tough spots in their life, or family members they're in visiting, and to see how much satisfaction they get from talking about football and from meeting you, and just from getting a bit of a release from things. I've had people say one of my fondest memories with my father, who's just passed away, was watching you playing a final, and like that's a real kind of wow moment. And it as opposed to taking away from football and making it seem insignificant, it really drives home just how kind of magical sport is, and in our case, Gaelic football. So I kind of take the positives from it that way.
Yeah, it's funny because the line is always, a death will put sport into context, but it's not really the case if someone dedicates their entire life to sport, or sport is such a big part of their life. Sport is not this trivial pursuit at the end of it, if it's something that someone dedicates months and years of their life enjoying. I know you took a break in between your first run with Dublin, let's call it, and your return the last couple of years. Diarmuid Connolly was over in the States for the summer. He lit it up, as we understand. Can you see him coming back if you're a betting man?
If I was a betting man? Yeah, I suppose I can. Now, that'll be up to him. I was going over to the States actually on a holiday a couple of weeks ago, and I just sent him a text looking for a couple of recommendations, and he gave me them. But I haven't spoken to him about his plans or whatever. Jim kind of talks the talk and walks the walk around. If you're the best player available in your position, you play. And there's no kind of sentimentality over. No one's guaranteed to get back in because of who they are, and nobody's guaranteed to keep their position because of what they did last year or anything like that. So, we all know what Dermot can do if he wants to do it, and if he's playing well, I can't see any reason why he wouldn't. You've
been very good with your time, Jack, and I do appreciate it. Just a final point on the rules. There's been a lot of talk about them. Yeah. What are your own views of it as a footballer?
Yeah, so I think my understanding is there's a briefing in Croker today, kind of, because I don't have any real clarity around the rules at the moment, to be honest with you. And I think that what would be really helpful is if the GA kind of came out and just completely stated what exactly they're trying to achieve, because I don't think we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, and there's an awful lot of negativity amongst the players around it, and probably because we're still in the dark a bit. But if it is, I think what everyone's presuming is that the rules are being brought in to tackle defensive football, and from just giving them a very cursory glance, I haven't given them much thought, they seem to be kind of dealing with the symptoms of playing against defensive systems as opposed to dealing with the defensive systems itself. So look, nobody wants to particularly see, over and back and over and back and over and back, but to punish the team that are doing that without maybe addressing the issue as to why it's happening might not have the effect that maybe people think it will. And you've the sideline kick one where it has to go forward, so I just don't understand why anyone on the opposition team would stay up the pitch, because the ball can legally not go there. So look, I'm sure they'll release a bit of clarity, and we'll get some kind of talks from referees, but the rules are in. They're the same for everybody. Crack on.
Jack, we've already talked about your slippers. We'll have to mention your socks, because you'll be pulling on your socks for Christmas Sock Day, which returns on Thursday the 6th of December. It's developed by TK Maxx. The campaign invites the public to sport their Christmas socks to raise funds for Enable Ireland, which provides vital support services for children and young people with disabilities across Ireland. You can get involved, Jack. People get involved by hashtag Soxy?
Soxy, I believe that's the pronunciation, yeah.
Soxy on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, so if on the 6th you can take a photo with any kind of Christmas socks and post that, I think €1 per post will be donated to Enable Ireland. And we had a great morning this morning, kind of launching the campaign, and met a young man named Brandon who benefits from the support of Enable Ireland. They do incredible work. So it's definitely something I'd encourage getting involved with, yeah.
€1 per picture?
€1 per picture, and I think there are products on sale in TK Maxx stores as well, Christmas themed socks and stuff, which have a percentage of the price being donated to Enable Ireland as well.
Well, it's a great cause, and it's a very easy way to give to charity, because all you have to do is wear your Christmas socks and snap a picture with the hashtag Soxy on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Jack McCaffrey, thanks for your time.
Deadly, thank you.
Yeah, very interesting guy. Jack McCaffrey, very well balanced. Yeah, he has the 3 crystal balls that Jim talks about.
Yeah.
Juggling them pretty nicely.
Yeah, I find him one of the most interesting people in the GA, comfortably. Like, even, go back to his decision to take a year out, and, he went to Africa that time. And the more I think about it, Brian Fenton was a very credible winner, Footballer of the Year. A lot of people thought Kieran Kilkenny should have got it. But if you think of Jack McCaffrey's year, he was doing his final exams in Med. He was coming back from a cruciate ligament the previous September. And he got man of the match in both the All-Ireland final and semi-final, which were really the 2 games that Dublin played. Yeah.
The only games.
So you think maybe Jack should have been in the running.
He was right there, I'd say, in a lot of people's minds. OK, let's move on. We're going to